The story you are about to hear is true.
I was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS in October of 2004, when I was 33 years old. I found out also that I was unchecked for 18 months prior to my diagnosis. At the time of my diagnosis, I had a son who was 14 and a daughter who was 10 years old. I have been a single mother since my daughter was 2 and my son was 6. I was living with a man for a few years prior to when I got the disease. There was a major issue that came up and he was arrested in November of 2002. He didn't go to trial until June 2003. Ultimately, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for harm to his daughter. I was in a pretty bad way, and I spent a lot of time at the local tavern trying to figure out where to go from here. I was working for Allstate Insurance Company in the claims department and was making a decent wage. After the trial, I was advised to take some personal time off to gather myself and refocus and heal. During that time, I met a man at the tavern that later became a major person in my life, my partner Bobby. We became close over our woes and problems in our lives and began an intimate relationship. What was not disclosed when this happened was his status. He had HIV and didn't tell me. I did ask him his status and told him that I had 2 very good reasons in asking. He lied, and I believed him and didn't insist on protection. I have taken responsibility in my role in how I contracted this disease. I don't excuse what I did. I should have insisted, and I didn't. I trusted when I shouldn't have. At the time, I still believed that people that I associated with couldn't have HIV. I live in a small town in Ohio. We know about AIDS, of course, but we still think and believe that it only affects IV drug users or the gay community. It couldn't happen to a straight, white female who lives in small-town America. I have learned how wrong, unbelievably wrong, that is, and a very frightening attitude to have. Bobby told me in the beginning of our relationship that he had health issues that crop up from time to time, but nothing to worry about. So, at the time, I didn't worry. I had my own worries in keeping up with the finances and sole responsibility of my household. The prior man left me months behind on my bills, and I was struggling to make ends meet. I got evicted from my residence over a dispute with my landlord over fixing my overflowing gutters, which he refused to fix or refused to pay for. I withheld rent payment in protest, and he went to court. I didn't know at the time that you must put your rent into escrow. Believe me, I know now, and had to move to another location. 6 months into my new place, Bobby's health started to fail, and I was the only one who was taking care of him. I started missing a lot of work and had no more personal time to take after I used up what I had after the trial. I ended up in trouble with the HR department and was summarily let go in February 2004. I figured I would get him over the health crisis and go back to work at another company. After the first hospital stay, Bobby was able to come home to his parents in the summer of 2004. He was home and on dialysis 3 times a week up at the hospital for a couple months when he got pneumonia and ended up back in the hospital in late September. While we were in the emergency room waiting for them to take him up to a room, the nurse left his chart on the foot of the bed. I happened to glance down at it, and at the top of the right-hand corner it said, "Pneumonia AIDS related." It was like the bottom dropped out from under me. I finally realized what was going on, and added up all the facts. I had never been so angry and so scared in my life. When he got transferred up to his room, he knew that I knew. When the staff left the room, and it was just him and me, I tried several times to open my mouth to yell and scream and rail, but nothing would come out. While I struggled to get the words out, I looked over at him, and all I saw was a river of tears pouring down his face and the most dejected look I have ever seen. All I could say was, "I love you, and I am not going anywhere, but I must leave now." I went to his parents' house and sat up with his mother and bawled in her lap all night long. I couldn't understand why he lied to me and how he could put me at risk if he loved me so much. I still can't all these years later. That night, laying there on his mother's couch, thinking of everything that has gone wrong in my life and everything that I have had to overcome, being a parent at 18, losing my virginity to a violent rape at 14, the abortion I had to get at 4 months along in secret at 14 due to the rape, moving out of my parents' house at 16, having the love of my life, and my daughter's father walk out on us when she was a year and a half old. Nothing compares to this. What if I am positive? What will happen to my kids? I am all they have very minimal contact with their fathers. What will happen if I can't work anymore? Who will support us or help us? What do I do about Bobby? Do I stay or walk away? Do I charge him for a crime or forgive him? The next morning, I went to the hospital to talk to him. I walked in and sat down and I said to him, "You and I are going to have a talk. I am going to get everything and all information I ask for. You are going to be honest with me, and then you and I will go on, and we won't have out this again." He agreed with me and the questioning began.